All right, let's get right into it. For so many families out there, the parenting journey starts way sooner than they ever expected. So today, we're going to walk through the world of a premature baby, from those first intense moments in the NICU all the way to adulthood. We're going to demystify the whole thing, the challenges, the wins, everything.
You know, for any parent whose journey starts right here, those first few moments, they're just filled with so much uncertainty. It's a total flood of emotions and questions. And if that's you, the first thing to know is that whatever you're feeling is 100% valid. This is a tough road, for sure, but it's not one you have to walk by yourself.
And just how common is this? Well, get this. About 1 in every 10 babies born worldwide is preterm. That might not sound like a lot, but it adds up to 15 million babies every single year. So while it can feel incredibly isolating, you are definitely not alone. There are countless families on this exact same path right now.
Which brings us to the big question, right? When a baby shows up before they're really ready for the outside world, what actually happens next? What does that unexpected early start truly mean? Not just for them, but for their parents too.
Okay, so first things first. Let's really break down what it means to be born preterm and talk about that initial shock that just hits you.
So what's the official definition? Well, according to the World Health Organization, a preterm birth is simple. It's any baby born before 37 weeks of gestation. And this gets broken down even more. You've got late preterm, moderately preterm, and all the way to extremely preterm for babies born at less than 28 weeks.
Now, one of the biggest, toughest emotional hurdles for parents is this feeling of guilt. This little voice that says, it was my fault. But here's the reality, and I really want you to hear this. For about half of all preterm births, the cause is completely unknown. We just don't know why. And for the other half, it's usually because of medical factors, things totally out of a parent's control.
So after the birth, the family gets introduced to this whole new world, and honestly, it can feel pretty intimidating. We're talking about the neonatal intensive care unit, or as you'll come to know it, the NICU.
At first glance, the NICU can look like this crazy maze of machines and wires and beeping monitors. It can be a lot, but every single piece of equipment is there for one reason, to provide highly specialized care. And it's so important to remember this. Parents are not just visitors here. You are a vital, essential part of the care team.
And what a team it is. It's huge. You've got neonatologists, those are the head doctors, nurse practitioners, amazing NICU nurses who are there 24/7, respiratory therapists, social workers, the list goes on. It really does take a village of experts. And you know, with all this high-tech medicine going on, one of the most powerful things a parent can do is actually pretty simple. This hand-washing routine, it's not just a rule. It's your first line of defense. Every single time you scrub in like this, you are actively protecting your tiny, vulnerable baby from infection. It's the first real, tangible step you can take as their caregiver.
Let's demystify some of this gear, okay? On the left, that's an incubator. Think of it like a high-tech womb. Its main job is to keep a tiny baby perfectly warm because they can't regulate their own body temperature yet. Then on the right, that's a warmer. It provides heat from above, which gives the team easier access for procedures on babies who are a little bit more stable.
I really want to pause on this because if you take away one thing from the NICU experience, let it be this. The nurses, the doctors, all the technology, they are temporary supports. But you, the parent, you are permanent. You are your baby's #1 source of love, comfort, and advocacy. Full stop.
So how in the world do you bond when there are wires and tubes in the way? Oh, there's so many ways. Skin-to-skin contact, people call it kangaroo care, is incredibly powerful for both you and the baby. Your voice is the sound they know best, so reading or singing is a huge comfort. And getting involved in daily care, changing diapers, taking their temperature, helping with feedings, that's how you build that unbreakable connection.
All right, so how does a baby actually graduate from the NICU? Well, the path home is really a series of key milestones, one victory at a time.
There are basically 4 major goals that need to be met. Number 1, the baby has to be breathing completely on their own, no help. 2, they have to be able to keep their body warm in just a regular open crib. 3, they've got to take all their food by mouth, no more feeding tubes. And finally, number 4, they need to be gaining weight steadily.
And after all those big hurdles are cleared, there's one last test, the final boss, if you will. The baby has to sit in their car seat for about 90 minutes or so, all while being monitored to make sure their heart rate and breathing stay stable. If they pass this, it's official. They are ready for that long-awaited ride home.
Leaving the NICU is it's a monumental victory. It's the day you've been dreaming of. But as we're about to see, the journey isn't over, not by a long shot. For many of these families, it's really just the beginning of a whole new chapter.
Now, this is a phrase that almost every single preemie parent hears. It's always well-intentioned, but honestly, it's one of the biggest myths about prematurity. This idea that all the effects of being born early just magically vanish by a kid's second birthday, it's just not the reality for many.
And this is exactly why that myth can be kind of harmful. Research has shown pretty clearly that being born preterm can have lifelong health implications. As adults, people born prematurely can face higher risks for things like high blood pressure, reduced lung function, diabetes, and even learning disabilities. The effects don't just stop at age 2. They can follow a person their entire life.
And the journey's impact isn't only physical, and it isn't just on the child. The trauma of a premature birth and a long, stressful NICU stay can have a profound effect on parents' mental health. Studies show that up to 70% of NICU families face a higher risk of anxiety, depression, or even PTSD. The emotional toll is real, and it can last for years.
So, the big takeaway here is pretty clear. This is a shared journey, with long-term consequences for the entire family. And just recognizing that's the first step to understanding why ongoing support systems, medical, emotional, all of it, are so incredibly essential long after those hospital doors have closed behind you.
And all of this leaves us with one final, really important thought. Knowing that 1 out of every 10 people starts their life this way, and that for them and their family, the journey continues for a lifetime, what's our role in that? As a community, how can we build a world that is more aware, more understanding, and just plain more supportive for these kids and the families who champion them every single step of the way?